everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ashley and I'm an architect in Ontario, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to deal with rejection and failure. Perhaps you failed an important exam or you were rejected to the program or school that you wanted to attend and didn't get admission. Now this happens to the best of us, and so in this video I'm going to be sharing some of the tips that I learned in my career, and I'll be sharing those with you of how to deal with these types of situations. And hopefully that can help you in your journey. So if you're interested, let's get started. Dealing with a failure, failing an exam, or getting rejected from a program that you wanted to get admission can be difficult. It's not an easy process. In my career, I've been rejected from schools. I've also failed a lot of exams, including the latest one, which was probably the hardest one for me to deal with, was the fact that I failed the AEXAC exam, which is needed in order to become an architect. It's your registration exams in Canada. And that was really hard for me. But in that process, in my failures and rejections to universities that I really wanted to attend, I've learned a lot in that process. And so in this video, I want to share with you some of the tips that I learned that can help you as well. And so number one, get those emotions out. You are human, and it's natural to feel disappointed in yourself and upset. Perhaps you worked really hard on that portfolio or in preparing for that exam. It's not easy to learn that you didn't do enough to pass. And so it could feel very devastating, but just remember that things will get better, but in that moment, you're going through a hard time and it can be really devastating. And so it is important to acknowledge that and to get those emotions out. I found that to be really helpful for me, just to take that day, feel disappointed in myself, feel upset, but don't let that carry on too far either. But do give yourself that time to just get those emotions out. Number two, evaluate and reflect. Reflect on what you did and what you could have done better. So for example, if you failed an exam, when you were reading those questions, did you feel like you lacked knowledge in particular areas? You do generally get a sense of what you did wrong. And if you didn't get accepted to a school, for example, and you didn't get admission, try to go back and look at your portfolio and evaluate why you weren't accepted. Did your portfolio show enough of the qualities, enough skill sets, and so on? And so try to be critical of your work and see what went wrong. And it helps too to see and go online and look at the work that's coming out of some of those students at that program and see where you lie in that process as well, and try to evaluate. And I know some universities actually post portfolio work of some students that got admission, and there's even students out there that show and share their portfolios that got accepted. So try to evaluate and reflect. Is it your portfolio? Another thing could be that your portfolio is really strong, but your academic grades are not good enough. That could be an element that plays into it as well. And so evaluating and being critical of yourself is really important. And typically I find that we are the hardest critics of ourselves. I do think by you being critical of your work, you'll be able to pinpoint the areas you need improvement. And even reflecting on your abilities, you will also see what areas you lack. Is it your storytelling? Is your storytelling convincing? Is that something that you were very strong at, even when, let's say, you were in your undergrad, right? What are those skills that you need to sharpen on? And typically you can see it. And especially when you look at your peers, you can see what areas you are really good at and the areas you're not good at. And so the areas that you need more help on, those are the areas that you want to focus in on and look at ways of improving upon as well. And so for the exam, it's very similar in that way too. You would reflect upon the areas that you lacked that knowledge and focus in on developing a plan of action where you take those limitations and you make them strengths by really building upon them and focusing in on those limitations. Number 3, mindset. Now, this, I have to say, I didn't realize when I failed the exec exam that it was important. And now when I think of it, of course, mindset is everything. But having the right mindset, especially for writing an exam, it's very important to have a positive attitude about it and not to let the rejection or the failure get to you. And I would say that even for portfolios, right? Because if you let that sense of the rejection or the failure get into you, you're not going to feel motivated to put effort and energy into your portfolio, into you studying. So stay positive and don't see failure or rejection as a negative thing. See it as an opportunity to gain more knowledge in a particular area or to reevaluate your goals. Is this something that you really want? Do you really want to get licensed? You know, it's one thing to not give up if you really want something, but if you're doing something because you were told to do it or I don't know, whatever the case might be, then it's time to reevaluate. Is this the right choice? Is this the school I want to go to? You know, there were schools I didn't get accepted to, and now at the time I was upset, but then I went and I reevaluated my thinking and I thought to myself, is this really the school that I want to attend? Is it even realistic for me financially? You know, is this really where I want to go and study? And so I actually reevaluated the schools that I wanted to reapply to and this new programs and schools that I was going to apply to, because there were schools that I actually didn't even think of because I was so focused in on other programs, thinking that that would be the right fit for me. And so when I started to reevaluate things, I started to see new opportunities and other options for me to explore that actually were a better fit for me. So it's important to take that mindset and, you know, have a positivity and don't let the rejection and failure get to you, but look at it in a positive light and how you can take that as an opportunity to do better and to also reevaluate your choice. Is this the right path as well? So look at it in a positive light. Now you can start to develop an action plan. By having a plan, you're able to achieve those goals. So for example, if you are looking to apply to a school or to even reapply to a school, then I would recommend looking at how you can make your portfolio better. Are there courses that can also help make your skill sets better? And so by looking at what are your limitations and disadvantages that you have in your portfolio, you can then look at some resources and start to look at some tools that can help you, and you start to develop an action plan and you start to book some time and carve out time to start preparing that portfolio and putting together an application and reapplying or applying to other places as well. And the same thing would apply if you're preparing for an exam or doing a project. You can then also look at taking all of those resources and start to develop an action plan and start to plan out your weeks and your months and start to really put a plan into action so you can achieve those goals as well. Number 5, seek help. Now, if you're noticing that you're just not able to see where you went wrong, or you have an idea but you don't know how to go about it, well, ask your friends in the industry, ask your colleagues in the industry. Perhaps you have a colleague that went through a similar process in applying to schools or preparing for an exam or doing a particular project, and they have some advice for you, or they can actually be a mentor for you or give you some guidance in that process. So it's important to also look and seek for help if you're really struggling. There are people out there that can help you that have gone through a similar journey. You're not alone in this process. You know, we've all gone through that process of writing exams, having to apply for schools, And there's a lot that you can learn from everyone. So ask your colleagues, ask your friends, and see what they did and see if they can help you to understand what you can do better, and maybe they can give you some guidance as well. So you're not alone in this process, and take advantage of the people around you. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, make sure to like the video, and of course, if you want to support the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you would like more information about the IGZAC, I would recommend this video here. I hope to see you on the next video. Until then, bye!